Dude, the Chris versus Mr. Beast thing is flooding my TikTok, and I can't tell if he genuinely feels different about him now or if it's just gross weirdos clipping stuff out of context. Wait, what? Are you insane? Like, I don't want to talk about this too much because it's private, but no. Mr. Beast is 1,000,000% supportive of Chris, and that is completely wrong. So much so that he's like literally trying to figure out why the fuck Mr. Beast is this is something that people who defend trans people experience for the first time ever. Usually, the shock of like what trans people have to go through on a regular basis online. And Mr. Beast is going through that phase right now. If you are even like an ally to trans people, we're not even talking about we're not even talking about trans people in general on the internet. That stuff is, that is just, your life is a living hell every fucking day that you're posting. That's why trans people are really fucking aggro on the timeline all the time. They're in constant defense mode. We're not even talking about like legislation that seeks to erase trans people from public spaces and harm trans people, stop them from transitioning, force them to detransition, all this stuff. We're talking simply just like, you, even as someone who says, I don't think people should bully trans people for being trans. Even when you say that, people are like, okay, well, I'm going to dox you. Okay, I'm going to dox you. I'm going to dox your family. I'm going to hurt you some way I can. So usually when cishet people first encounter this, they go, what the fuck is this? Like, what the fuck's going on? Because like, for the most part, if you are not really aware, if you haven't like said anything, if you haven't ever like said anything about trans people or whatever, if it's just mostly apathy, you don't really think about it. You sometimes will see the transphobic people be like, look at how fucking weird trans people are. Look at how angry trans people are. There's a lot of like anti-trans propaganda, as you guys know. We parse through it regularly. But the reality changes immediately when you are like openly supportive of trans people. When people go, oh, you're an enemy. Okay. You support trans people. Well, we want to kill trans people. So you're an enemy as well now. So they'll do anything and everything. They'll lie. They'll dox you. They'll fucking harass you. Just for the crime of even aligning with trans people. So understand that even if as a cishet dude, as a cishet white dude, if you're experiencing that, then holy shit, you can't even comprehend what trans people are experiencing on a daily basis. This was, for me at least, a very radicalizing principle. I talked about this before. When I started learning more about the trans experience, when I started learning more about trans existence, okay, and started speaking out against transphobia, there would be hours, countless hours where like everyone would be fucking perma stuck talking about the same shit over and over and over again, where people were just like very, very, very upset. They're just not normal, even if you are an ally. So what I reckon, even if you aren't just an ally. So that was one of the moments where I realized like, holy shit, if I go through this, I'm a fucking cishet white dude just for defending trans people. The idea, like, I mean, I can't even comprehend what trans people go through just to survive and to exist. You know what I mean? That was, for me, a very radicalizing moment. That was, for me, a moment of awareness. And I think Mr. Beast is currently individually going through that moment because of the insane amount of targeting that has happened towards Chris. Chris probably understands that as a trans person. You know what I mean? From what I understand, there's a lot of support in the real world. And there is a lot of support in the real world for him. Some trans creators died on the boycott Hogwarts or else you can't call yourself an ally. And I just thought that was really stupid, but okay. But again, I just explained to you why trans people are like that. Like, I literally talked about this at the time. I explained to you why trans people are like that. They're like that because it's life or death for them all the fucking time. Okay? So yes, sometimes it gets a little out of hand, but who cares? Like ultimately, just you're not doing it so trans people are nice to you. You're doing it because you think that that is what is the right thing to do, right? How many times have I talked about this? What? Transphobes have been posting clips of MrBeast zoning out on a stream with Chris? Yeah. I mean, they're gonna... They're doing unhinged shit to make it unbearable to be trans, of course, as trans people already know, but they also do unhinged shit to make it unbearable to even be a fucking trans ally. You know what I mean? So you just gotta... Apparently they're spreading fake DMs of him and shit. It's all bullshit. It's fucked up. It's really, really fucked up. And because trans people oftentimes don't really have a voice in like a prominent voice in mainstream media beyond like a fucking ad campaign that Dylan Mulvaney gets where all hell breaks loose, and like the overwhelming message surrounding that is like, how dare Bud Light even partner with a trans person, rather than like, oh my God, look how wonderful it is that Bud Light partnered with a trans person, right? Because let's be real, it's always anti-trans messaging that is way more prominent in mainstream media. You know, I don't know. We'll cover all of that in a little bit. We'll talk about the MrBeast stuff in a second. I want to start out with the TYT thing, which is also related to trans people, surprisingly, or I guess unsurprisingly. But it's I'll just say it like this. It's not a very good time to be trans online. Not a very good time to be trans in general, but it's certainly not a good time to be openly trans on the internet. And the internet is a very important place for trans people. One, because they are extremely fucking online, and 90% of them are coders and love shit posting. But also, other than the jokes, you know, it's an important place for them to be able to gather some support that they do not have in their real lives, right? So it's huge. It's the only outlet you have. It's their only source of community. And these fucking freakazoids are making it so that they are robbed of their they are robbed of their only source of community. It is important to me because I can control so much more of how I present myself and how people see me. So yeah,